95.5 R&B and old school for the Lou.
Well, how do you feel about Betsy DeVos?
Betsy DeVos is cancer. Here's the thing. Betsy DeVos wants to, first of all, we got charter schools in 1990. The reason charter schools were created was to defund inner city black public schools. Mm-hmm. Charter schools were created to be the kryptonite to public education.
Right.
That's not to attack black charters who do a good job.
Right.
I want to be clear. But the movement itself is to kill public education in the cities. Okay? Mm-hmm. Betsy DeVos comes along. The reason Betsy DeVos was put in office is because not only did she create Michigan's charter school system, she is big time pro-voucher.
Right.
So you already got one weapon of mass destruction. That's the charter school. Betsy DeVos is coming in with the voucher. And I don't support vouchers.
Right.
And none of us should if we give a damn about black children. Why? Because if I'm a middle class, take me, I'm a psychologist, right? I have two daughters. If Betsy DeVos says St. Louis public schools can give Dr. Johnson $5,000 per daughter to find a private school, and that private school costs $15,000, I got to come up with another $20,000, right?
And we ain't going to be able to do that.
How many single mothers you know can come up with the difference? They can't. The only people who benefit from that is bourgeoisie blacks.
So what are their options? What's
our option? I'm gonna tell you where we messed up. In the 1980s, we were fighting for community control of the public school. Community control.
Right.
Not no damn charter. White folks came in and said, you know what? I think we can hijack this. Let's go to these community control advocates and tell them, instead of controlling the education, why don't you take out a charter application? And we ran for it. You want to know why? Because we saw the free money. See, if Umar Johnson comes to St. Louis and open up a charter school for black boys, Umar Johnson can pay himself $200,000. I'm going to hire you to be the principal. Mm-hmm. So who's running the school? You. You're the principal. I'm the CEO.
Exactly.
Which is a new thing that we just made up the past 10 years to give ourselves a free check.
Yes.
It's a hustle. See, what we should have stayed with was community control. That way we decide who gets fired, who get hired. Now, you decide who gets fired and who get hired at a charter, but who controls the charter?
The CEO.
The state. Charter schools are not privately owned. Those are state institutions. So the charter school was a hijacking of the community control of the public school movement.
You got another question, Steve?
Dr. Umar.
Yes, sir.
Here's another question from Facebook Live. What happens if your child is not learning in the public school system?
Question too general, because I would follow up to say, what grade is he not learning and what subject is he struggling in? But generally speaking, two things. Number one, every parent is a homeschooling parent. We got this thing where if our kids go to public school, we're not supposed to work with them. So number one, black parents have to be held accountable for the fact that we're not working with our children at home. Mm-hmm. I do therapy. I can count on one hand the amount of black houses I've been in where there's a dictionary, a thesaurus, where there's a quiet place for children to even do their homework. So if there's no books in your house, how are you going to blame the public school for miseducating? If you know black boys better know how to read by the time they finish the fifth and you ain't even got a bookshelf in your house, then you're just as liable as the school system.
Flat out, man.
Number two, if you live in an economically challenged neighborhood, every school gets Title I money. This is federal money that comes into the ghettos to help black children with reading and math. Go to the principal and demand that they hire a tutor to work with your child. And if they say they don't have the money, tell them, yes, you do. How much was in your Title I budget this year? What the principals do is they take our Title I money and they spend it to give the football team new helmets and the basketball team new uniforms, and we don't do nothing about it. Because everybody knows that most black parents could care less what goes on in that school unless somebody curses at their child. Children don't drop out of school until we drop out of their lives. Show me a failing child, I show you a failing parent. A child cannot fail unless the parent failed first.
Well, I mean, you speaking some hard truths. People, this is stuff we need to hear. We cannot. And I mean, I'm a parent and I feel you and I feel the same way. I can't disagree with you. I completely agree with you. But I'm glad you saying it and I'm not saying it because y'all be mad at me if I was saying it.
My worst experience in my job.
Oh, my God.
You say, what's the thing you hate the most? I'm going to tell you what I hate the most. When I walk into a meeting, I just evaluated the child. I got the evaluation. Mm-hmm. I got a principal. I got a white teacher. I got a counselor, dean of students, and I got the black mother. Mm-hmm. You're black. Most of them white. Might have a few Negroes involved. I'm telling you that this boy ain't got no reading disability. He's in the 5th grade, reading on the 2nd grade level. He doesn't have a problem learning. Your son's problem is he never been taught. He was pushed through. He never been taught. Mm-hmm. In second grade, your son was suspended every other day. He was never allowed to learn. He was always in the principal's office.
Right.
Third grade, your son's teacher went out on maternity leave. From Thanksgiving to the end of the school year, your son had 15 substitute teachers. Fourth grade, your son had a brand new teacher, fresh out of University of Missouri, little white girl, could barely read her damn self.
Oh, shit.
Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
So your son was a victim of miseducation, inadequate educational opportunity. But now they telling you he needs special ed. He got a learning disability. No, he don't. He ain't been taught. But if you a lazy mother,
Mm-hmm.
when
You
Dr.
gonna
Johnson
accept it.
tells you, just work with this boy, get him a tutor. Don't put your son in special ed. You put him in special ed, he's never going to get out. He'll graduate right into prison. But if you're lazy and you believe everything white folks say, you're going to go along with them. And guess what's going to happen? 5 years later, you're going to come right back to me. Dr. Johnson, everything you said was right. Can you help me get my son out? And I'm going to look at you and say, why you didn't do what I told you to do the first time? Now I got to fight twice as hard because you took the word of white folks over me. It happens every day.
Pick up the book. If this is a situation that you're dealing with, or if you know somebody who's dealing with this is information that you can definitely benefit from. We have to take advantage of the different resources that are presented to us. So they can also reach out to you where?
They can reach me, drumarjohnson.com, drumarjohnson.com. They can also call me, area code 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. I also want to let your listeners know, I'm hoping they all there tomorrow night because they need to be. But
and what time again?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Doors open up at 4. I have a free Black Parent teleconference I do every Tuesday morning.
Nice.
It's 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern, so that's 5 to 7 your time.
Mm-hmm.
If a parent has an issue with their child, education or mental health, I'm also a former school administrator. They can call me and get expert solutions to whatever they're dealing with.
Oh, nice.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So that number is 857-232-0158, 857-232-0158, and the access code is 870-864-POUND. Let me also say that we have an organization known as the National Independent Black Parent Association. I started it last year in Baltimore. We had 3 training conferences. The first one was Baltimore. The second one was Houston. The third one was in San Diego this past January. And the fourth one is going to be in Detroit. So if anyone wants to start a chapter of the Parent Association in St. Louis, in Kansas City, in the surrounding areas, come to Detroit June 9th and 10th. It's Friday and Saturday, all-day training by myself. I train you personally from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. so you can come back here and know what you're doing. Every chapter has 7 committees. Special ed, fight against special ed abuse.
Okay.
Also, special ed is a business. Every time you put a kid in special ed, they get a check. And I need y'all to know that. The schools get a check every time I put a kid in special ed. It's money. It ain't about helping. It's cash.
It's always a hustle.
It's a welfare check, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a discipline committee to fight against black kids being unfairly targeted for suspension and expulsion.
Right.
We lead the country. Then there's a policy committee to change the rules in the schools that negatively affect our children. Your daughter live on the west side. You want her to go to school on the east side. Principals say he cannot grant that transfer because that's outside your zip code.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a state law? No, state
no.
law doesn't control that. That's a school district policy, and you can change the policy if we organize.
Gotcha.
And then there's a homeschooling committee to help us organize the parents who want to homeschool their children. And then there's a parent advocacy committee to train some of you to be advocates. So if she got to go about her son, you're going to go with her as the advocate because you know the law. You know this book. She don't.
Right. Okay.
So you're going to fly her in and make sure she come out victorious.
Right. So she might not stumble over some stuff.
Exactly.
So I also want to ask you about Pan-Africanism because
Yes, ma'am.
that's a term that I got to be honest, I don't know exactly what it is. So explain that to me because you said you were a
With a
Pan-African.
symbol, and it's this right here.
Okay.
This is Pan-Africanism. This is the flag that was given to us by the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey in 1920 New York City at his first international convention. Pan-Africanism, I can sum it up in 4 principles.
Okay.
Principle number 1, all African people, whether you live in Africa, Australia, whether you in London, France, Paris, whether you in China, where I'll be next week, whether you in Brooklyn, Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, if you are a direct descendant of Africa, then we one family. And we identify as family. We might have different religions. We might have different languages. We might experience different culture. Family first.
Right.
And we identify as being African before we identify as anything else. You follow me?
Gotcha.
So you might be a Spanish-speaking Brazilian. She might be a British-speaking sister in London. He might be in Paris speaking French. She might be in Australia. I'm in St. Louis, but guess what? We all one family. And we identify as being family first because nothing is more important than family. So you never a Christian who happens to be an African.
Right.
You are African who happens to be a Christian.
I love it.
You follow me?
I think
Race is first. Principle number 2. As Africa goes, so goes the rest of us. The reason Black America is still stuck in this quagmire 152 years after slavery is because we have not internationalized our struggle. The civil rights struggle had nothing to do with the African freedom struggle. Nothing.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
The struggles we have today, when we marched for Michael Brown here, it was not internationalized because they going through the same thing in South Africa. They going through the same thing in London.
Right.
If it was internationalized, you bring international pressure. We didn't do that. See, Marcus.
I heard you speak about that before.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Marcus Garvey said, "A strong man is strong everywhere." Let me give you an example. Take Chinese. Take European Jews. Wherever they go, they respect it. I travel the world. I don't care where the Chinese man at. He's respected and he owns a piece of the economy. I don't care where the European Jews at. I don't care where the British Anglo-Saxon is. He's respected and he owns a piece. Now let's look at us. You know why they respect it? China's strong. Britain's strong. Now let's take Black folks. I don't care if you in Jamaica, and I was just there. I was the keynote for the Garvey celebration this past summer. I don't care if you in Jamaica. I don't care if you Black in Canada. I don't care if you Black in London. I don't care if you Black in St. Louis. We own nothing. We control nothing. There's 4 constants for Black folks around the world. I don't care where you go. When I get to China next week, how much you want to bet it's the same way? For Blacks in China, the same way. Single mothers, mass incarcerated Black men, okay? Controlling none of the economy. We don't control none of the economy where we live.
Right.
Name a country, and I'll tell you the non-Africans who run the money, right? And white Jesus everywhere you go in the world. There's white Jesus in St. Louis. There's white Jesus in London. There's white Jesus in Jamaica. There's white Jesus in Ghana, Nigeria. Black folks strung out on worshiping the image of a deity that looks like the enemy. And as Pan-Africanists, we believe your God better look like you. Your God better look like you. If it don't look like you, you volunteering to be a slave.
On that note, tomorrow night, make sure you show up early. Doors open up at 4:00. Better Family Live. You can listen to Dr. Umar speak. He will be there. You can pick up the book, of course.
Yes.
Make sure you pick it up. Make sure you reach out to him on social media. You've seen him. He's everywhere. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Honors mine.
Get some of this knowledge, baby. And I will talk to you later.